Welcome back to, I beg your pardon, 7. What am I thinking? Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, we're starting today with elections. Well, not just that of this year, for the general elections as well. We're joined now by Professor Attahiru Jega, who is the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we do know that we've got 2 elections this year, Ekiti and Osun, and then we now build up to the general elections. First of all, what do we expect from the elections in Ekiti and Osun? I know you repeatedly talked about the fact that you need to improve from what happened in Anambra State. What do we expect?
Well, I think we should expect a very good election in both Ekiti and Anambra. We should expect better operational and logistical arrangements, and we should also expect a peaceful election in those states. And we are doing everything possible, engaging stakeholders, preparing adequately on our own side to ensure that the elections in Ekiti and Osun are very good elections with minimal challenges, and the results of which should be generally acceptable to the people of this country.
Okay, because I do know that you're currently distributing the permanent voter cards.
Right.
Did you get feedback from the field?
Yes, I have been receiving feedbacks. I think people in both Ekiti and Osun came out enthusiastically to receive their permanent voters cards. In some of the urban areas, the distribution officers that we assigned to do this were overwhelmed, because in some polling units there were very large turnouts.
Okay.
Of course, where we received reports about those kinds of situations, we tried to remedy them by sending additional personnel to be able to help to smoothen things out. And as I speak with you, we finished that exercise. We are pleased with the way it went.
For both states?
For both states. Of course, in every exercise, you always learn good lessons, about what was done right and what needed to be improved upon. And we've taken these lessons. I will still get a comprehensive report of what has happened. But from the general report that I have got so far, I think it went well.
I don't think it would be too early for us to look at some of the lessons your commission has learned, especially from the Anambra elections.
Well, you see, Anambra election has come and gone. Now we are moving forward onto other elections, and the matter in Anambra is in the tribunal, and I have to be careful about what I say. But I will make a general point. Really, Anambra elections was not as bad as it was made out to be. There was a lot of media hype about what happened in Anambra. And I think some aggrieved parties, either because they were disappointed, latched on a mistake which we admitted, and now started demanding for a total cancellation of the entire result. Mistakes were made. We identified our staff who was responsible for that mistake. We've taken him to court. He's being prosecuted as I speak with you. And we took measures to rectify the irregularity. We rescheduled the elections, and the elections were conducted. And in the end, it was added up to the results of the elections in other places, and it was announced. So really, there was a lot of media hype about Anambra. In Anambra, you have 21 local government areas. There was a problem in one local government area, and even in that local government area, in 3 wards. And frankly, yes, a mistake was made. We owned up to it. We regret it. We never want those kinds of mistakes to happen. And we are doing everything possible to ensure that that does not happen as we move towards other elections again.
The question that a lot of people will be asking will be, what are you doing differently?
We are doing a lot of things differently. We are improving the training and the quality of manpower that we use, whether it is temporary or ad hoc staff or our professional staff. We have done a thorough assessment of 2011 elections, and we know what we did right, what we needed to retain, what we needed to improve upon, and we've been factoring this in all subsequent elections that we've conducted. And it's evident as we moved from one governorship election to the other, things have improved. Even in Anambra, the reports about deployments in most of the polling units, we commenced elections early. But as soon as that mistake occurred in Idemili, everybody forgot about some of the good things that were even happening in Anambra, which regrettably, it happened, and we've taken it in stride, and we've learned the bitter lessons of that. There was a lot of talk about disenfranchisement, in Anambra, but it's really ironic, because the register of voters in Anambra was better than the register of voters anywhere we conducted elections previously.
In other words, there's been some kind of improvement
Yes,
from Edo to Anambra?
There has been improvement as we move towards Anambra, and we've cleaned the register, and we gave people an opportunity, those whose details were not captured electronically, to come out as early as August, during the continuous voter registration, before each governorship election, except Edo and Ondo, where because of controversies we shelved the CVR. But before, in all the other elections, before each governorship election, we did a CVR, continuous voter registration. Anybody who had become 18 was registered and added onto the register. But in Anambra, we said, starting with Anambra, we were no longer going to use addendum register. The so-called addendum register is a manual list of those who are not on the electronic register. And you may not be on the electronic register for a number of technical reasons. Maybe at the time we did registration in that polling unit, thugs snatched the DDC machine before the details were uploaded into the database, or maybe the equipment crashed before the data was saved. So those people, in 2011, we used a manual list and said, okay, you've registered, you have a TVC, you can vote. But we said, look, we have to keep on improving. We can't have an electronic register.
TVC, that's a temporary
voter's card. So we said, look, as we move towards 2015, we can no longer allow a situation in which you have an electronic register and you still allow people who are on a manual list, whose photographs are not there and details are not there, to be allowed to vote. So we said, starting with Anambra, anybody who cannot find his name, and we displayed the register in Anambra before the CVR. If you can't find your name, come out during the continuous voter registration so that you can be registered. And regrettably, maybe because of insufficient voter education and public enlightenment, many people did not use that opportunity. So they came on election day. We were not going to use manual register. Of course, they have a TVR, but they had not used the opportunity we gave them to be captured electronically, and they started saying that they were disenfranchised. So the whole talk of what is the definition of disenfranchisement is a deliberate, willful attempt to deny people their rights. And there was no such case in Anambra. But every time you listen to people, they say that INEC has disenfranchised people in Anambra. So we've corrected that as we move towards Ekiti. In fact, we said, as we are doing Ekiti and Oshun, we've produced permanent voters' cards, which is a requirement by law. And if you are on the electronic register, you will have a permanent voters' card. If you don't get if you are not on the electronic register, which means you haven't got your permanent voters' card, then it means you know that you have to come out during the continuous voter registration so that your details will be captured again. So that way, we've given people an opportunity to correct. If they don't use it, we should not be blamed. But at least the opportunity has been given to everybody so that they can be captured. And so in Ekiti and Oshun, we displayed the register, the updated, cleaned register as of now, for which the permanent voters' cards were produced. And then after the display, we now distributed the permanent voters' cards. In about 2 or 3 days' time, we will commence the process of continuous voter registration.